Namaskaram and greetings from Indic Academy. It's such a privilege to speak to Dr. Ramkumar in home territory. Thank you so much, sir, for the time and such a privilege.
Thank you.
It was wonderful going around the campus and seeing so many different aspects of Ayurveda which the common man usually doesn't get to see. So, can we start with maybe the day that we are celebrating Ayurveda Day has been changed. So, what is the rationale behind it and what does it mean to you?
I really don't know why this particular day was selected. What I do know is that my uncle, his birthday is on 23rd of September. And he was a champion of Ayurveda, promoting Ayurveda for the last 40-50 years. He did a lot of work in this field. So, I don't know whether that is the reason. I have no idea why they have selected September 23rd.
So, but otherwise we were marking it on Dhanteras. And how important it is to have the deity and the rituals when we are doing Ayurveda? What role does that play?
It's in Ayurveda, when we talk of healing, we talk of it at three levels. It's called Yukti Vyapashya, which is for the body, the logical treatment using medicines, treatments, diet, lifestyle, etc. Sattva Vajaya, which is strengthening the mind, increasing the sattva in the mind through appropriate processes. And then Daiva Vyapashya, which is addressing the karma factor of the past.
Right.
In some of the Ayurveda texts, Deva is defined as the karma of a previous life. And generally, there is some karma that has created the problem we are undergoing today.
Right.
We are an output of what happened in the past. So that karma needs to always be addressed. So between increasing the sattva and addressing the karma, we need to have some practices. We have to be spiritual. It can be meditation, it can be silence, it can be any practice that I relate to. I should be able to do it on a daily basis. That is extremely important. Where Dhanvantari is concerned, I like the whole story of Dhanvantari. How the gods and the demons churn the oceans and Dhanvantari comes out after a lot of unnecessary impurities are removed. And I like to see that story in my own context in terms of the ocean being the mind, the gods and the demons representing the good and bad aspects of the mind. The churning of the ocean with the Mount Mandara, that is the buddhi or the discerning intellect, and the snake, Vasuki, represents persistence, patience, abhyasa, continuous churning. And as that happens over a period of time, a lot of poison comes out of the system, and that poison represents the ego or the ahankar in me. And it is only when the ahankar in me goes out that the Bhagavata Purana will say, when avidya, aviveka and ahankara have gone, Janardana awakens in us. Janardana can also be called Dhanvantari. So the healer in us truly awakens when we are devoid of ignorance, when the discerning intellect is functioning well and the ahankar is gone. So Dhanvantari represents this whole concept. So the awakening the Dhanvantari within us is what each of us need to strive for. And so in that sense, for me, Dhanvantari is an extremely important part of this whole healing process.
Fantastic. Today morning, I went to the Goshala, then to the soap making and ghee making place, then to the where the plants and herbs are grown. And it's very clear that a lot of my thought has gone into it. And how does one, in a world where there's so much pressure for lab and clinical based evidence for everything, How does one, keep that, not get stressed by that aspect and, rely on ancient wisdom and even your own intuition and, belief in the system? So, how do you balance both?
Well, again, the way, if we look at the way the Veda Parampara has evolved, the way the different texts have come into being, we will see that the rishis were called Rishi Drashtas. They
Yes,
saw
saw that.
this wisdom. And how do they see it? Because through tapasya jnana, they were able to clear the rajas and tamas, and in a purely sattva state of mind, they saw it. And consequently, that wisdom is true for Trikala, past, present, and future.
Sure.
And the rishis are emphatic that they will say, Satyam Vakshanti, Kasmad Asatyam Nirajas. When I am devoid of rajas and tamas, how can I speak a lie? So, the way that wisdom evolved, that the tattvas, the core principles, the foundational principles remain intact for all time. On that foundation, whether it's Ayurveda or any of these Bharatiya Shastras, on that foundation, the whole world is a live laboratory where you are constantly experimenting, innovating through this foundational base and increasing your sattva. So this, if you look at the way a lot of the Western or the modern concepts that have grown in a laboratory, the way they have evolved, they've had a very short cycle of birth, growth, maintenance, decay, death. And even the principles have changed, sometimes within decades, or 20, 30, 40 years, the entire principles have changed. Whereas here you see these principles have never changed. We still have the same Panchabhutas, the same Atma, the same Sharira, the same Chetana. These words and these principles have remained forever, and that is what is the strength of all the Bharatiya Shastras. And these principles remain constant across the Shastras. We go into Natya Shastra, we go into Gandharva Veda, we go into Vastu Shastra, Sthapatya Veda. Any of these knowledge systems, they work around the same principles, and that is why again they are all so connected. So why would we need to go into a laboratory and experiment? During the COVID times, the modern scientists look for solutions in the laboratory. The Ayurveda Vaidyas worked with the patients and got excellent results across the country. Though people may deny it, but the reality is many patients across the country were healed by different Vaidyas using the same foundational concepts but different herbs. So that is a living laboratory.
So how does one standardize see here a lot of it is individual based, and the relationship between the Vaidya and the person being treated is so personal. So is it possible to standardize treatments or standardize, how did our rishis do it?
Well, the day the nature is standardized, we can standardize this. If nature is different, from here to 5 kilometers from here, nature is different, then I don't understand how we will ever standardize the understanding and the application of Ayurveda. They will always, because it is nature's laws, nature's wisdom, nature's laws. Nature is unpredictable. And when nature is unpredictable, how do we expect the human body to be predictable? How do we expect everything to be standardized across a group of people? To a certain extent, yes, but not entirely.
You've created a place where there's a lot of loving service and a lot of families are taken care of, the doctors so in a world where it's all about being the employer and employee relationship, and all management lessons are how to manage this troublesome employer who has to like Narayan Murthy ji is saying you have to work more hours a week, work in the weekend. So how does, do you think you have solutions in Ayurveda for managing people and work lives, this work and family balance? What is going wrong?
Well, principles of Ayurveda are applicable to body management, mind management, family management, organization management. At any level, we can apply the same principles of not just Ayurveda, again the Veda Parampara. I mean, for example, if you take dharma and you look at Samanya Dharma, Vishesha Dharma, Apad Dharma, in the body also, the Samanya Dharma of the entire body is to keep this body and mind healthy and alive. The Vishesha Dharma is each system has to do their work, whether it's the circulatory, the respiratory, the digestive. They have got assigned Vishesha Dharma. Apad Dharma, when there is an emergency, they have to come together to ensure that the Samanya Dharma is looked after. This is true in the family, it's true in the community and nation and global levels. So, these principles are always true. But when we try to standardize this process, this Samanya Vishesha Apad Dharma for this body, in this environment, at this age, is going to be different from yours in a different environment, at a different age, in a different set of circumstances. These variables are always going to be there. So, that is where Ayurveda says that every Vaidya should actually be a on-the-go scientist, constantly innovating, constantly studying and finding those subtle parameters which will actually be the difference between a good healer and a not so good healer.
So how does one get the training for that Vaidya? Our education system is now, even Ayurveda has become a degree, and it shouldn't be, but in the NEET system, those who cannot get into allopathy, they see Ayurveda as a fallback, or veterinary science. So it's all being grouped together. So how the earlier training that you would have had, how do you think it's different from what is being, the students that are coming out of these 5-year degrees?
See, from the moment the study of Ayurveda, Siddha, etc. moved into a formal educational model, it has devalued the creation of experts through the system. Still, experts are created, but that is because of their individual capacity, and it is despite the system, not because of the system. And Ayurveda moved into the colleges probably in the 1950s or 60s, and before that, so if you look today, there's a minimum essential standards for running an Ayurveda college, for setting up an Ayurveda college. In earlier times, the only essential standard was a good guru and a shishya who fulfilled the qualifications to be a shishya. The guru and shishya had to fulfill the qualifications, and then the shishya stayed with the guru for whatever time it was required to become a Vaidya, and then thereafter become an expert. So today I think it is incumbent on the individual student who is truly interested to become an expert Vaidya to develop a set of practices and to study, to go searching for a guru with whom the shishya can spend several years till one has reached some level of expertise. We have one of our senior Vaidyas, who studied, when we was in the first year, he was in the final year, and he always talks about how till the age of 40, he continued to go studying with different teachers, not just Ayurveda. He went and studied yoga, he went and studied Nyaya, he went and studied Vedanta.
Yeah.
Till the age of 40, he was studying all these subjects. And he became a full-time practitioner only at the age of 40, 41. Which is the way it used to be tradition. But today, the moment we step out of the college,
We want to start, right?
more than we want to start practicing, we want to start earning.
Correct. Yeah. Actually, the same anecdote. No. Just pause. So he was mentioning Sanjeev ji, who looks after the Goshala, that the area that you have still available is quite substantial. So what are your plans now that you have a herb garden, you have a Goshala, you have the residential places? So can we hope that you will start an Ayurveda college also sometime? And what are your plans?
I don't think we want to start an Ayurveda college here because, like we were just discussing, the college in its present
Is
form
yeah.
is not really something we would want to go down, take that route. I must say, however, that a small glimmer of hope in a decision of the government last year to approve a 7.5-year Ayurveda program,
Including 11th and 12th, is it?
including
Yeah.
at the age of 15. So before the
Yeah.
NEET, they come
Yeah.
into the sort of a Gurukul program. So there's a glimmer of hope there. But Ayurveda's college is not something we would really, we are looking at informal programs. We are continuing to train people informally. Vaidyas come all the time to study with us, but we are not looking at a formal Ayurveda education program as of now. What we are trying to do is create an eco-friendly, sustainable healing community, which includes the 15 villages and almost 12,000 people in this entire panchayat. See whether we can actually create a community built on the principles of natural farming and Ayurveda, and which thereby will have to include sustainable cultivation of vegetables, of herbs, of grains. Will have to include some kind of a Gurukul education model for the youngsters in the surrounding villages, so that tomorrow they should feel inspired to live this life. Otherwise, they may not feel inspired,
Yeah,
because
they
many of the
Yeah.
village children, they are with stars in their eyes, looking at
Yeah,
going to the
cities.
cities, etc. We want them to feel happy to be a farmer. So we are looking at getting every villager or every resident in this community tilling or cultivating at least 20 to 30 cents of land, which is sufficient to take care
For
of
their
a large part of their food needs, and have the animals, have the entire sustainable community ecosystem. We also want to see arts playing a bigger role in the healing process, because that is also told in the Ayurveda text. How instead of art for art's sake, can we look at integrating art, whether it's the performing arts, the fine arts, integrating it into the healing process. So, language, again, at some point we are hopeful that this can become a Sanskritam speaking space, like you have in Karnataka. You have a village where everybody speaks Sanskritam, because that bhasha itself has got great healing potential. So we are exploring how we can bring all aspects of the Bharatiya Shastras into the context of healing and living healthily and happily and in a contented way. See, the other thing that we are trying to build in people is a feeling of contentment. Everybody talks about happiness, but contentment is what is most
Long-lasting.
essential, because only we are content, we can be happy. And in yoga you got santushta, santosha, tushti, so many words which I think are not, we translate it loosely as happiness many a time, whereas I like to think of it as contentment, especially in the modern context where we are taught to be ambitious always, constantly in the rat race. So this community is about, creating a model that can be replicated by anybody or any other community in any part of India or across the world, where it incorporates all aspects of the Bharatiya Shastras as a living Shastra, not just for chanting in our homes or temples, but bringing it to life. That is what we hope to do. It may take 10, 20, maybe 100 years, but that is what we hope to do.
So, what are the things you have put in place and you yourself done to make it a viable project? Finance is usually the biggest bane. Whether it's arts, there's no sponsorship, and it's a challenge getting funding, and it's suffering because of that. Whether it's even anything Indic related, language or art, fine arts, it's always comes down to finance. So how did you plan this and how to make it financially viable? What is the how within the artha aspect of our tradition, how do we see the for some musicians who are of old school, they feel we should not charge for music classes. So we Indians are very hesitant about charging for these traditional, especially for healing, music, certain things. So how do we overcome that and make it justify to our own sense of consciousness?
Well, when the Ayurveda texts say that healing should not be transactional, because then there is something lost in the transactional process. The healing will never be complete. But we are in a time when people don't know how to take care of the Vaidya, the priest. These are people who were taken care of by the community in earlier times. But today, people don't know to do that. So we have to arrive at some kind of a via media and hope that even there, over a period of time, people will learn how to take care of the Vaidya, and thereby we don't need to actually charge or put a fee for the services rendered. So what we did is we are running a Ayurveda hospital where we earn some money through the services, through the healing services that are given, and any profits that are generated, we are able to use a percentage of that to support the building of this entire ecosystem as envisaged. What we are also doing is, many of our colleagues here are from the surrounding villages. So that is another way of building the ecosystem. Right. So they are also being taken care of as a part of this whole process. We are definitely hopeful, and I must say that even now, patients who know us, who have been with us, who know us, who understand the concept, the vision, the principles, they give whatever they can, whatever they can give. For them, the bill is immaterial, and that is our policy. Two, we also have a policy that any deserving patient will not be denied treatment for lack of funds. So this is the way we balance. We are taking care of Artha, but ensuring that nobody is denied treatment, and those who are aligned with us, we know that they will do whatever they can to the best of their capacity. So this is the way we have managed it. And many of them who come here are also supporting some of the outreach activities, some of the extended activities that we do. So finance is always going to be a challenge, but slowly we are working our way there. Who would not be happy if they had...
We don't have to worry about it. It's a huge thing, especially a healer or a creative person. We don't want to think about money.
But you see the other side, the opportunity that we saw is because when we were starting this whole project and we had no money in our hands, we learned so much because we could not keep consultants for all the different aspects. Architects, designers, energy consultant, water consultant. We did not have the luxury of being able to appoint or outsourcing consultants. So we were fortunate in that sense that we ourselves were able to learn a lot. And I always think that whenever we have a little more money, we actually misuse it rather than use it. Because we become lazy.
Correct, for sure. Like today, a beautiful example that Sanjeev gave. He said every day his son asks for a different color tea. So he will tell hi yellow hibiscus. So he was saying he will ask for blue hibiscus. Suddenly he'll change his mind and say, give me pink hibiscus. So he says all we have to do is add lemon water and it
Right,
turns pink.
right.
See, that knowledge could have only come if he has tried trial and error or
Exactly,
something.
exactly.
So it's not bookish knowledge. It's not something that anybody will seek that because it has not much use
Correct,
unless you are
correct.
marketing that
Correct,
product.
correct.
But so much that one can learn by just being around.
And even when, like one of the early experiments that we did is we wanted to try to avoid using air conditioners in this space. I mean, we're not saying we will not
Yeah.
avoid, because people have to be
Don't know,
comfortable.
yeah.
But 15 years we have managed without air conditioning in Vaidyagrama. And so to avoid that, we needed to ensure that the temperatures inside the room were at least 4 to 6 degrees cooler than the outside temperature. And for Coimbatore, that is enough.
Yeah.
If in a hotter place, we might need to reduce temperature by 10 degrees or 15 degrees. But if we get even 4 to 6 degrees reduction, we have done significantly well. So we kept thinking, how is that possible? So, and we are open, we are listening to different sources. And so some said put ventilators, put more ventilators. Then that's when we decided to do the mud construction without using baked bricks or burnt bricks. It is all solar dried. And then somebody in our group came up with the idea, in school we learned that hot air rises. So why don't we put air vents in the roof? So that the hot air will rise and escape, and also we put glass so that we get some light into the room. So we said, great idea. So we experimented with that. And because those days we never had trees in the vicinity, so we were also planting trees. Now, a combination of all this has led to the rooms being a lot more pleasant than outside. So sometimes we learn all this in
Correct.
school, but we don't learn
Apply
it.
it.
Yeah,
How
we don't
to-
apply
yeah.
it practically. So that those are again, lot of small experiments like this. That, or we generate a lot of oil, waste oil, through the treatments, and typically we dump the waste oil. But then we said we don't want to dump waste oil. So what we did is we put in place a process of separating the waste oil from any of the impurities, whether it's water, whether it is green gram, anything else. Got the waste oil separately, heated it well, added some wax, and made candles, which are there in your rooms. So, these concepts of recycling, reusing, restoring, we just kept trying to work with all of these concepts. A lot of which we have learned in school, but we've never applied.
It's a use and throw culture largely now.
Yes,
So that
exactly.
thing of recycling or reusing is not there because of convenience or whatever.
Correct.
That big shift has to come in people's minds.
True.
So you've kept a very low profile. It's not that we should when people talk about branding and how do we should become the number one service provider in Ayurveda system here. So does that is that something that you have avoided, or how does one deal? Like you said, we always want to be name and form is more important than the guna and the. So
Well, you see, we did start this with that idea. When we discussed what we want to do, we just said we want to provide authentic Ayurveda for universal well-being. We never said we want to be number one in this space, or we want to become a unicorn, or we want to, none of that was ever on our in our thought process. And we wanted to create a space where we will be happy to heal and to live. This is all that we wanted to do. People tell us your targets. Are you going to have 100 rooms, 500 rooms, 1,000? He said, we don't know. We genuinely don't know. We started with 2 rooms. And from 2 became 4, 8, 16. You know, it has grown gradually depending on the need. You know, if people need and there's no space, then we add more rooms. So we have not felt a need to say, and then we don't believe we are doing anything unique. There are many good Ayurveda hospitals giving extremely good treatment, many good Vaidyas doing extremely good work. There are many good eco-friendly spaces. There are many good... All of what is happening here is happening in other places also. Perhaps what we have done is put together different elements. And working to continually put together different elements to complete the ecosystem. Other than that, there's nothing original or nothing to, to highlight.
But I did hear, I don't know where I read it, or that when Dr. Vasant Lad came and he looked at this land for the first time, and he felt that this is going to be the bhumi where a lot of healing and a lot of Ayurveda work is going to happen. That was even before the Bhumi Puja. I read that. Is that
Dr. Vasant Lad has not come here before the Bhumi Puja. He came 7 years after we started Vaidyagrama, and I don't know whether he has said anything like this. I've not heard it. You know, everywhere people will start creating stories, so I don't know. I cannot say whether it's true or false. I don't know.
But is this land, was it chose? Why was Coimbatore chose? Is that where your uncle was residing? Because somebody said the monsoon, the person who came, brought me by car, he said it's such a beautiful place. It's a watershed. You get both the benefit of this monsoon and the northeast monsoon. So it's always coolish compared to core Tamil Nadu or other Andhra or Kerala.
Well, there are multiple reasons. One is, of course, all of us, the initial founding team, all of us, or the majority of us had studied in Coimbatore. So we have some base in Coimbatore. Coimbatore was, actually those days it was more there was more scarcity of water those days. It was a rain shadow area, not so Kerala got all the rains and we got the good climate. So that sense the temperature was very good. We wanted to be on the border of Kerala because Kerala was known for Ayurveda. We didn't want to be in Kerala for various reasons. So we chose, we were looking for land in this area, and we initially thought we want to be in the foothills of the mountains that you see there, and we actually did select a couple of lands in that area, but for various reasons it didn't go through. And when we actually began to wonder whether we should actually be doing Vaidyagrama or not, since it was not happening, then we thought probably the indication that we should not do Vaidyagrama in that particular location. And so then the first land we saw in this area was this property, the original Vaidyagrama land, and we straight away went ahead. It was a land with, if I remember right, it was 11 coconut trees and 1 mango tree. And nothing else on that land, full of weeds, not cultivated for more than 7 to 8 years because of lack of water. In fact, even whatever land we picked up after also, all these lands have not been cultivated because of lack of water. And for others, it was, why are you buying land where there's no water? And for us, we are saying this land is very pure. Because no cultivation has happened for so many years. So so it is much better. So that is how we reached here. Later, when some of our colleagues went and checked astrologically and vastu-wise, they found that this was a appropriate land for the purpose that we had in mind. But that was again later, not at the beginning, because we had to pick this up quickly, since people were getting a little frustrated.
So how did you manage the water problem?
So we did a Varuna Puja to begin with. I think that was the first thing we did in the on the land on a hot summer day. very difficult for people to believe, but on that hot summer day when no rains were forecast, soon after the Varna Puja, it rained for 15 minutes. And we thought that that's a nice nimitta. And then we got a geophysicist to come and look for water on the land. And mind you, several water diviners had seen all these lands and said there's no water, and that is why we got the land. But then after this, when the geophysicist came from one of the neighboring colleges and looked at the land, and he said there's one point where you will get water, and that point was 12 steps from the place where the Varna Puja was done, and in the northeast quadrant, which Vastu-wise is suitable. And then the next day we said, let's do the borewell. Some of us thought maybe we need to look for a second opinion because, you know, those days every rupee was very important. We could not afford to waste. So suppose we dug the borewell and there was no water, we would have lost a lot of. But then we said if we look for a second person and he gives a different point, then we'll have to find a third person.
Or we dig two places.
So we said let's just go ahead. And then the very next day they started drilling, and the entire village was watching. And till 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, they'd gone 550, 600 feet, no water. Everybody thought that, you know, these people have a lot of money to waste. They're just fools. And I still remember the drilling team, the head of the drilling team said, you know, this is a waste of time. But we said, just continue drilling. So he said that I'm leaving, my team will do it. And he went from here. At 690 feet, we struck water. And we said, continue to drill till 750 feet. Now at that point, this borewell had more water than any of the farms in the surrounding area. That made people a little unhappy because now only we had the water. So that is where we started. Then we said, you know, that is okay, but we need to now raise the water table. We need to retain the water in the land because the water was sliding off this land due to the incline. So, and we had a, you know, again, at the right time, right people come. So there was this person who came who's into natural farming. He's a farmer himself. He started giving us a lot of common sense, you know. So he said, you know, since the water is going down north-south when it rains, instead, why don't you do one thing? You make the water move east-west. So it stays on the land for a longer period and has a greater chance for absorption. So we did the cultivation accordingly. We made rainwater harvesting wells at different points in the land. And within 2-3 years, we started getting water at 200, 225 feet depth. And in the last, I think probably 7-8 years, we have not bought water even in summer.
Fantastic.
And the surrounding farms also seem to have higher water levels. The water table has gone up in this entire area.
So what would be the most logical explanation? Would be the growing of trees, plantation?
It must be a combination of everything. We have not looked for logic. We just did what we had to. We have no clue what is the logic. We're not questioning
why it worked.
You know, so people, we do Agnihotra here every day, morning and evening. And the ash from the Agnihotra is sprayed in the land. Is that the reason the trees are growing so much? Is that the... We even took a harvest of rice, you know, where rice doesn't grow anywhere in this area. We actually cultivated rice and got almost 70 kilos of rice from 10 cents of land with no flooding, using minimum water. See, when you don't know anything, it actually helps. You can fearlessly experiment. Otherwise, when you know, when you are backed by science, it's very difficult to experiment. So that way, I think there's a lot more freedom, you know, and many of our colleagues still experiment. As long as you use the platform wisely, we are so happy that different people are using it in different ways.
It's amazing, actually. Each of them has a different interest, different skill. They are just exploring it.
I mean, there's one person, I don't know whether you met him, the person who stays in this house, the lady, she's, you know, getting this area done. And she's telling me that the colleague who helps her to set this up, he is actually talking to the plants. very quietly. No, he's not proclaiming it, not informing. He's doing his work quietly, and she's so happy to see him talk to the plants every day.
Because somebody I interviewed recently, he's head of some veterinary organization. He was saying that chanting helps animals. So when I asked Sanjeev, he says that when he plays music, the animals, even they are stressed.
Yes.
They have biological stress due to various reasons, the noise or some sudden. So he says it helps to, he sees them calming down and.
Yeah. And letting them be. I think, see, if we minimally interfere, I think every nature, plants, animals, all have their own ways of looking after themselves. And so when people said, why are you not landscaping? We said, no, we just wanted a forest here. Let the plants, everybody who comes here plants a tree. Some may survive, some may not survive. Some people say, oh, you don't have water, you're not pouring water for the plants. But then again, today there's a school of thought which says, in the hottest season, don't pour water or pour the least water, so that the plants become resilient. Now, we don't have those theories, but because of this context, because of the context where we had very little water, that is what we were doing naturally. But the intention was there that this place grows into a forest, that more and more trees and plants grow, and that has happened here for us.
Thank you so much, Doctor.
My pleasure.
I have not even touched the tip,
Oh, no,
but
no.
I think it's enough for us to come back again and for others to come to Vaidyagrama experience. I think whatever we may talk, only when one experiences it does one get a sense of the Shakti, Prana Shakti here.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Namaste.